I will also need a watch or a mobile or something. Just put it here so I can follow the time. Yes, put it on airplane mode.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Swami. Welcome to the Ramakrishna Model Investment. Welcome to the afternoon. So, for the it's well known that we are not in the next section. We are very delighted to have Swami Sarvapriyananda. He's been immensely in touch with the Vedanta Society of New York. He has been coming to us annually. Welcome, Maharaj.
Thank you. All right, we can begin. Om Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. There's some slight echo. This is on? Yes, so it seems to be coming from this mobile phone. Is the voice on here? I can hear myself. Yeah, there's a like a half-second lag. Yeah, see, can you hear it? Can you turn off the audio? Yeah, it seems okay now. It seems all right now. Thank you. So namaste and good morning, everybody. It's good to see you all. Some familiar faces and some new ones. Always welcome. What we are going to do today and tomorrow is this book. It's called The Nectar of Supreme Knowledge. A little background about this book. This is actually an English translation of a Sanskrit text called Yoga Vashishta Sara, the essence of Yoga Vashishta. Yoga Vashishta, we know, is a very well-known Advaitic text where Vashishta explains Advaita, teaches Advaita to the young Ramachandra, the Prince Ramachandra. And it's a voluminous text. In fact, in the original Sanskrit volume, it will come in multiple volumes generally. There are 30,000 plus verses in the original text. I personally have not read the text from cover to cover. I've read it here and there in various parts. Now, a summary of the Yoga Vashishta, especially the spiritual and philosophical verses, is very much needed. The Yoga Vashishta has also many stories to illustrate the point, but many, many stories, and very fascinating stories. But leaving the stories aside, just the essential teachings, a summary is very much called for. And this text attempts to do that. Yoga Vashishta Sara. This was composed, we don't know exactly when, but it's pretty old because there are Sanskrit commentaries available on this text itself. Mahidhara's commentary, for example. So 600-700 years old, oldest manuscripts are there. Now, I was introduced to this text because of a Bengali translation made by Swami Dhireshanandaji, who was a monk of our order, Ramakrishna order, who lived in Haridwar in Kankhal, in our Ramakrishna mission Sevashrama, the hospital there. And he was a confirmed non-dualist Advaitin. Also, he had a very interesting link with Tapovan Maharaj, guru of Shastra Guru of Swami Chinmayanandaji, the founder of the Chinmaya mission. So in Tapovan Maharaj is the reminiscences of other monks about Tapovan Maharaj. The monks who would gather around Tapovan Maharaj to hear his teachings. There's mention of Swami Dhireshananda from the Ramakrishna mission. He would also come and sit there along with the other monks there. And he would go around, meet many great Advaita masters in the Himalayas in those days and collect those teachings. Is there a hiss? What's the hiss? It's the light. Okay, we can ignore the light. It's light and sound. Light and sound, that reminds me, some of the monks are quite humorous and sometimes scandalously so. One monk in one of the ashrams, he was asked, what do you do? What are you doing there? What are your duties at present? Oh, my duty is light and sound. What is this light and sound duty? Arati. He's doing Arati of the Lord, he's doing, and he's calling it light and sound, light and ghanta sound. So this book is a Bengali translation of this Yoga Vasishtha Sara, was made by Swami Dhireshanji. Among the other books which he wrote, this is one of the books. And this book is also wonderful for not only the original Yoga Vasishtha Sara, which has 10 chapters, which has the essence of the Advaitic teachings in the Yoga Vasishtha, collected verses, just over 200. Imagine, from 30,000 verses, it comes down to 200 or so. It's manageable, just over 200. But also what Swami Dhireshanji did was, with his meetings of Tapovan Maharaj and many other great monks in the Himalayas in those days, he collected lot of Advaitic insights into Advaita Vedanta. And he put them as notes. So in this book, you will find notes, profuse notes. Many interesting insights into Advaita Vedanta. So it becomes a small but nice compendium of Advaita Vedanta. You get the essence of Yoga Vasishtha plus a lot of extra information. The only problem was, so this book I got from Swami of our order, Swami Sarvapriyananda, Kalipada Maharaj, who was very well known to the devotees in Mumbai. He was in our Mumbai ashram for many, many decades. And he was a confirmed non-dualist, strictly so. And if you went to him and if he liked you, he would give you that book. He would like you if you liked Advaita. If you liked Advaita, he would like you. And that's why I think he liked me. And he would give you this book to read if you're a Bengali. And he gave me that book also. I also read it. I liked it. And when I came to the West, Kalipada Maharaj Swami Sarvapriyananda told me, I heard you're going there to the West, teach Advaita there. I said, yes, Swamiji, I will. And he used to, a couple of times I talked to him over the phone before he passed away, and he said, he was a man of few words. He looked very grim. He was a very loving person, but he looked very serious and grim. So he said, I heard that you are doing a good job of teaching Advaita. I am glad. That's all he would say. Now, my problem with the text was that there was no English translation available, so I could not use it for teaching. I thought, at least in memory of Swami Sarvapriyananda, Kalipada Maharaj, I should teach it at least once, some parts of it. Finally, Swami Sarvadevanandaji in the Vedanta Society of Southern California in Hollywood, he made this English translation. He also likes that text, so he made this English translation. And thanks to his work, his labor, we have this book, which is an English translation of the Bengali translation of the Sanskrit summary of the Yoga Vasishtha. I met this Swami when I was in the Himalayas. Again, Tapovan Swamiji's kutia where Chinmayanji studied, that was in front. And near that, there is a yoga ashram. There was a set of cottages. And one sadhu used to stay there, Brahma Chaitanya. He was a brahmachari. And all day long, he would translate the Yoga Vasishtha, the original, not this one, the original, from the Sanskrit original to the English. And I heard from other monks there that he looked quite like the Rishi, long white beard. If you have seen the movie Lord of the Rings, Gandalf the magician, exactly like that. He had long white robes, and he was a tall, well-built man, a Punjabi, with long white hair, long white beard, going down below his waist, up to his waist. And hair would go down to his knees, and he would tie it up and keep in bundles here. And he would sit in the morning after the sun rose, warmed up a little, come out into an old wooden bench. He would sit there. There was a work table in front, outside the cottage. And stunning view. Towering mountains, glaciers running down. It was summer, so there was no snow where I was in the valley of Gangotri. But up there was snow. And Deodar forests all around, and Ganga rushing past about 100, 200 feet below. So he would sit there and translate. And I heard from the other monks there that it's not the first time he's translating. His sadhana was, he would translate the book day and up to sunset, he would go on. In between, we would go together for bhiksha and come back. And he would sit again. He'd take a short rest and then sit and translate again. From Sanskrit into English. He was a very well-educated man. He was an engineer from a premier engineering college in India, BITS Pilani. So, and he was elderly when the time, when I met him, he was quite elderly. He was in his 70s, I think. So he would translate the whole book, 30,000 verses, it seems. This is what I've heard from others. And then he would not publish. He would take all those notebooks, which are written, painstakingly written by hand. He would take all of them, throw into the Ganga, come back again and start from the beginning and translate again those 30,000 verses. No one knows how many times he repeated the cycle, if more than once at least. Why would he do that? He told me himself once. He didn't tell me that he threw it into Ganga, but he told me this much, that he did it man yahan par rakhne ke liye, he would say in Hindi, to keep my mind on this, to keep my mind on this. We will see how it is related to the theme of what we are going to do today. So now we have an English translation, and I actually taught a part of this. We studied a part of this last time here in Pittsburgh, but that was from the first chapter. So today I'm going to take up some highlights of the second chapter, today and tomorrow, chapter 2. And second chapter is interesting because it is called the chapter on the falsity of the universe. The chapter on the falsity of the universe. Jagat Mithyatva, Jagan Mithyatva Prakaranam. You'll see on 107 at the end of chapter 2, page 107, at the end of chapter 2, it says, Iti Shri Yoga Vasishta Sare Jagan Mithyatva Prakaranam Nama Dvitiyam Prakaranam. Second chapter, here it ends. The chapter is called the chapter on the falsity of the world. Chapter on the falsity of the world. And we are immediately reminded, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya Jiva Brahmaiva Napara. The whole of Advaita can be summarized as Brahman is real, the world is an appearance, world is false, it is an appearance. And Jiva, you, we are very concerned. Yes, what about me? Am I real or appearance? You are Brahman itself. You are you are reality. You are Brahman. You are the ultimate reality. You are identical with Brahman. Jiva Brahmaiva Napara. Not anything else. Not the body, mind, anything. You are Brahman alone. And you are real. Now that Jagat Mithya, falsity of the world, what does it mean? And it troubles us when Advaita talks about that. We will see now. All right. Now we will read verses 1, 2, 3, 4. I will not go in sequence, but 1, 2, 3, 4 first. First, I will read 1, 2, 3, which is a preparation for the fourth verse. What is this falsity of the world? And why is it necessary? What good does it do? What does it mean? But first, an introduction. Verse number 1. I am reading. This is from page 60 of this page, chapter 2, verse number 1. You can repeat. Those who like, you can repeat after me. Page number 60, chapter 2, verse number 1. Can you find chapter number 2 in the book? In page 60. In my edition, page 60. Have you found it? Verse number 1. Sanyamatmanasa shantim, Sanyamatmanasa shantim, eti samsara sambramaha, eti samsara sambramaha, mandare spandatam yate, mandare spandatam yate, yatha kshira maharnavaha. As the great milk ocean becomes calm and free from waves, when the Mandara mountain becomes still, similarly the master with mastery over the mind, this world delusion comes to an end. Verse number 2. Chittonmesha nimeshabhyam, Chittonmesha nimeshabhyam, Samsarasyodayakshayau, Samsarasyodayakshayau, Vasana prana samrodhat, Vasana prana samrodhat, Animesham manakuru, Animesham manakuru. The changeable universe, samsara, appears and disappears with the blossoming of the mind and its absence. Make the mind or chitta, therefore, free from vibrations by controlling the latent desires and mastering the breath. then verse number 3. Ayam hi swavikalpothaha. Ayam hi swavikalpothaha. Swavikalpa parikshayat. Swavikalpa parikshayat. Kshiyate dagdha samsaro. Kshiyate dagdha samsaro. Nissara itya samshayah. Nissara itya samshayah. This universe, which is created out of one's mental modifications, vanishes as non-substantial, burnt-out object upon the destruction of the mental resolutions. There is no doubt about it. Okay, three verses, 1, 2, 3. Let me make a gist out of it. What is being said here? What is pointed out here is the crucial nature of the mind in spiritual life. Absolutely vital nature of the mind in our spiritual life. In our search for peace, there's a demand. One gentleman said to me, look, I just want peace. Just leave me alone. I want this troublesome samsara to leave me alone. I want peace of mind. So if you want peace of mind, notice peace of mind. Not a piece of the mind, but peace of mind. We want peace of mind. How do we get peace of mind? I'm reminded of Sri Ramakrishna. There is an interesting story that Swami Turiyananda ji, who was his pre-monastic name was Hari. So Hari, as a young man going to Sri Ramakrishna, who was suffering from throat cancer and dying actually from terminal throat cancer, 1886. So one day, this is a well-known story, and then there's a second part of it which is not so well-known, which is relevant here. First part of it is, Hari goes to Sri Ramakrishna and asks, Sir, how are you today? And Sri Ramakrishna says, I can't eat, it hurts. So naturally, terminal cancer. And he's dying of it. It hurts, I cannot eat. The tumor in the throat. Any cancer patient would say that. But the next part is extraordinary. Hari, for some reason, he says, but sir, I see that you are in great bliss. This is not something that we would say to, let alone a cancer patient, even ordinary persons. Disease means no happiness at all. I was just thinking, the word disease, how do you split it? Dis-ease. Yes, dis-ease. And the word we use for disease in Sanskrit or in Bengali also, asukha. In Bengali, ashuk. Sukha means happiness, ease. Asukha, no ease or disease. It's literally the same word. Disease and asukha is literally the same word. So the two do not go together, disease and bliss. He has great disease, not great bliss. Terminal cancer, throat cancer, great disease, not great bliss. But Hari Maharaj says later on, Swami Turiyananda, he says to him that, but sir, I see that you're in great bliss. And what is even more startling is that Sri Ramakrishna says, yes, the rascal has found me out. And this rascal, he has found out the truth. Which means it is true that I am in great bliss. It's also true, he has found me out means it's not an obvious truth. Obviously, it is disease and I'm in pain, I'm suffering and probably will die soon. But the deeper truth is, I am in great bliss. And he says it's true. I am in great bliss. But how? That's our quest today. How? The second part of it, the second part of the story is this. Later on, so Hari was not convinced. I mean, he was convinced, but he was not satisfied with this answer. He wanted to know how. So again, he asked, not that day, some other day. Sir, all this, that means the disease and the pain and all of this, you cannot eat and prolonged misery. Sir, all this, are you feeling it? Do you feel it? And Sri Ramakrishna's answer was very interesting. He says, I'll tell you original in Bengali and then translate. O tomar ki kotha. What kind of talk is that? What kind of talk is that? মন কি শরীর কি কখনো সাধু হয়? মনই সাধু হয়. Does the body ever become spiritual? It is the mind which becomes. Literally use the word sadhu. Sadhu means a good person, a spiritual person, a monk, like that. But basically, does the body become spiritual ever? What kind of talk is that? Does the body ever become spiritual? It is the mind which becomes spiritual. Now put these two stories together. In the middle of terminal cancer, is not denying that there is pain. He affirmed there is pain. He's not denying that he is starving, he cannot eat and all that. I can't eat. All the suffering, full suffering, which any cancer patient, same suffering he's undergoing. But at the same time, he claims that he is in great bliss. Even greater truth than the cancer is that he is in great bliss. And then he adds, it's not the body. That means at the level of the body, there is cancer, there is pain, there is suffering, and there will be death. It is the mind. Moni Shadhuha, the mind becomes spiritual. Spiritualization of the mind is what we are talking about here. Let me bring in the Buddha. So this is from the earliest Pali sources. So it is more or less an authentic source, not later WhatsApp story. This is from the ancient sources. So one monk asked the Buddha in his later years, when already the monastic organization was established, there were many bhikshus and all, asked the Buddha, sir, I have a question. What is the question? Sir, you said there is suffering, old age, disease, death. You know the story of the prince Siddhartha, how he became the Buddha. He saw the four sides actually. Old person, diseased person, and dead person. So the great sorrows of life, old age, disease, death, and all other sorrows. And then the fourth sight he saw was one hermit, one monk walking, and what is he in search of? Search of solution to the sufferings of the world. And so he became a hermit in search of the solution, and he found it also. Then became the Buddha. Now that is suffering. That is old age, disease, death. Yes. So what is the question? And you said there is an end to suffering, and you have found that end, and you have taught it to us, and we are sincerely following you. But we are also becoming old. We are also getting disease. Some of us have died. And we see you have found a solution to suffering, but you are becoming old. You also become sick sometimes. And unfortunately, I think one day you will also die. He's telling the Buddha. So what's the question? How did you find a solution to suffering then? Now you see, logical question. Suffering is equal to old age, disease, death. Suffering has been overcome. The Buddha says, I have found the solution to suffering. But he's still getting old age, still getting our disease, still getting death. And all those people who are practicing what he has taught, those things are still happening. They have not stopped. What is the answer? This is a mystery. Then the Buddha says that suffering is like a person who is hit by two arrows. The first arrow is what the world throws at you. What does the world throw at us? Body will get old. Body will get disease. There will be pain and suffering. And so that is that's one aspect of suffering. Maybe we should close the door or something. Maybe there's no need to keep the bookstall open during the class. I mean, people are here anyway. So that is the first. The first arrow is what the world throws at us. Old age, disease, death, all of those are the first arrow. The second arrow is our reaction to it. Our reaction to it. This is so awful. This hurts. This is miserable. This is horrible. That is the second arrow. And the Buddha says most of suffering is caused by the second arrow. The second arrow is most of the suffering. And that is our reaction to what is happening in life. And what I have taught you will help you to overcome that reaction. It will help you to overcome that reaction. About the first arrow, the Buddha says, I cannot do anything. Samsara will continue. Body, which is a part of samsara, will continue. Life and death will come and go. But how to make yourself proof against the suffering, invulnerable against the sufferings of life, that is what I have taught you. It changes your reaction. So that does not matter that I am getting old, I will get disease and I will die. But my reaction to the old age, disease, and death is stunningly different from everybody else. And that is what the spiritual teachings can do. It will change your mind. What Sri Ramakrishna said, the body doesn't become a sadhu. It is the mind which becomes a sadhu. What are we trying to do in spiritual life? We're trying to make the mind into sadhu. What are we trying to do in spiritual life? We are trying to change the reaction, the second arrow. We're trying to make ourselves vulnerable, invulnerable against the second, protection against the second arrow. Because our main suffering is due to the second arrow. The first arrow one can overcome. Same old age, same disease, same death. One person suffers so much. And Sri Ramakrishna can claim, I am in great bliss. Buddha can say, I have overcome suffering while getting old. And finally he got disease and died. But he says, I have overcome suffering. If you believe him, in the middle of old age, disease, and death, he has overcome suffering. That is what the project is. That is a beautiful way of understanding what spirituality is. It will not overcome physical old age. A few years back, got a call from movie industry, Hollywood. Do you want to be in the same film with William Shatner? I said, yes. We all grew up as kids seeing William Shatner, Star Trek, Captain Kirk. In India, we had, when I was a kid, there were only two serials, one channel, Doordarshan, and two English serials, I Love Lucy and Star Trek. English serials. Later on, of course, yes, Prime Minister and all came, Faulty Towers, all those things came. But Star Trek, only once a week on Sunday, I would eagerly wait for it. And Captain Kirk was, William Shatner was Captain Kirk. So I never thought I would be in a movie with, or a film with Captain Kirk. So finally, there was actually, it's something called, in History Channel, you can see, there's a series called The Mysteries of the Unexplained, or The Unexplained. The Unexplained. It's a series. In the second season, there was an episode, The Mysteries of the Long Life, Why Yogis Live Long. Mysteries of the Long Life of the Yogis. And he wanted to interview this person. They wanted to interview me. And the host is William Shatner. Ultimately, I didn't get to meet William Shatner. But the film crew came to the ashram in Hollywood and interviewed me. The long interview. They were interested. How do yogis live long? Now, I thought, I can't give the example of Vivekananda, 39 years only, 40 years. They will not be interested. So, well-known example is Trailanga Swami in Benares. More or less authentic documentation exists 280 years because of the British rule that they had records of Trailanga Swami. So I mentioned that they were very interested, fascinated by it. But then I told them that, see, the body will die, but the Jivatma does not die. We are born, we existed before the birth of this body, we will exist after the death of this body. We go through multiple lifetimes, multiple bodies. And then we attain, with spiritual liberation, we attain to our real nature, which is the Atman or Brahman, which is beyond life and death, which is immortal anyway. Long interview, more than 1 hour. They cut out the whole lot. Only Trailanga Swami they preserved, 280 years. See, what are they interested in? First arrow. And it's important to understand. First arrow. I don't want all your Vedanta, Jivatma, Brahma and all that. I want to live in this body. I want to stop old age. I don't want wrinkles, cream. I don't want to get old and die. Some new treatment, if it can be there. Tremendous amount of money. These Silicon Valley billionaires are pouring in. Why? This is tremendous body identification. And I must prolong my miserable existence in this body. I am fighting against the first arrow. The whole insight of spirituality across the world. I'm not just talking about Vedanta, Buddhism, Christianity, whatever you say. Spirituality is that second arrow. How to change your reaction so that you will not get hurt by life. The great philosopher whom I like a lot, Wittgenstein, he said, religion is the search for the ultimate security. Not that you will not get old, not that you will not die. It's perfectly all right. Body young, body old, you're perfectly all right. So, body does not have to be forever 21. Shop is there forever 21. Body, no. Whatever age, 21, 51, 101, you're. 101, you will not be so all right. But internally, your sense is that I am at peace with it. How? The problem is with the mind. And there it begins. Verses 1, 2, and 3, they talk about the mind and how it can be spiritualized. Second arrow, how to respond to how to change our reaction to what the world throws at you. It is the old story we learned. The king said his foot was pricked by a thorn, and he called the minister, please cover the whole kingdom with leather so that my feet will not be hurt. The minister said, sir, you need not cover the whole kingdom with leather. This is called shoes, leather shoes. Put on the shoes is as good as covering the whole kingdom with leather. Similarly, this changing the second arrow, changing the mind is like putting on shoes. No matter how many thorns are there in the world, you will be protected from these thorns. Now, that's what he says. Sangyamanat, sangyama manasa, sangyamat manasaha, samyamat manasa shanti meti. By mastering the mind, by controlling the mind, making the mind into a sadhu, then shanti meti, your demand, leave me alone, let me be at peace. World will not leave you alone. You have to turn your mind. You have to change the mind. You have to put on shoes. How? By control of the mind, by mastering the mind. Shanti meti samsara sambhramaha. This whole storm of the samsara, this will be pacified. Actually, will it be pacified? Will cancer be cured? Will old age be stopped? Will I live to 280 years? No. No. Externally, that storm will continue. You are proof. You are fine with it. You are fine with it. And gives an example from the Puranas, Mandara Parvata. There is a Kshira Sagar, the story of the ocean of milk, and that was churned by the Devatas and the Asuras to find out the gems which lie inside the ocean of milk. That's a symbolic for the mind, a very beautiful story. The ocean of milk is the mind. And when you churn it, waves will come and things will come up, good and bad will come up, and samsara will go on very nicely. Stop churning it. How do you stop the mind from breaking out into waves? You stop what was the churning instrument? The Mandara mountain was used. And Vasuki, the snake, was used as rope. And they were churning on both sides, the demons. That's what's going on now, actually. Do it well, good gems will come up. Do it badly, a lot of misery will come up. But how to control it and master it so that we are proof against the storms of the world. So mind itself is the source of all these problems. How do we do it? See, here is the thing. Crucial insight. One gem to take away, spiritual gem. I'm just translating from what I heard from a sadhu. हमें लगता है, I'll tell you in Hindi what I heard, then translate. हमें लगता है संसार के चलते मन अशांत है. असल में महात्मा जी अशांत मन के कारण संसार है. So we think because of the world, troublesome world, my mind is so disturbed. My mind is racing. My mind is full of anxiety and unhappiness and misery. I don't like it here. Why? Because of the samsara. Those people, the way they behave, the way they treat me, those desires which I have got and the world is not fulfilling. Because of all these problems, because of the people, because of the way the people are treating me, because of a health condition, because of financial condition, political condition, 100 different problems in samsara. My mind is troubled so much. Ashantaman. No, here is the first takeaway. It is because the man is ashanta, therefore you have samsara. That seems counterintuitive. That does not seem to be true. No, there are problems outside. Wait. Notice something carefully. It is because of the condition of the mind that the problem seems a problem. Consider this. Every doctor knows it. Many are doctors here. They know it. You've dealt with hundreds of patients, thousands of patients. Minor problem, the patient goes crazy. Minor problem, the patient goes crazy. Serious problem is there. You have seen so many patients who react with so much dignity and calmness. Same disease. One patient is terribly upset. Another patient accepts it with calmness and does exactly what the doctor says. Will say, thank you, doctor. Tell me what to do. I will do it. Now, who is suffering more? Who is suffering more? It is the patient who is reacting harshly, reacting sharply to it, who is reacting with unhappiness and rejection. I can't accept this. This Swamiji, Dayananda Saraswati ji, he would say, what does spirituality do? He put all of this, what I'm saying, in a very short, in one sentence. It is moving from what to so what. Our reaction, the patient's reaction to your diagnosis, to the treatment is, what? I have serious disease. What? After so many months or years of treatment, you're saying more is required. What? And what spirituality does is it converts that reaction into so what. How will you move from the what to so what? That's spirituality. How will you take care? First arrow will be there. Second arrow. You cannot make the body sadhu. How to make the mind sadhu? So that is the whole thing. It is because of the reaction of the mind that we suffer. अशांत मन के चलते संसार है, संसार के चलते अशांत मन नहीं है. This is a great lesson to learn. Another Swami is known as the Smiling Swami, Anubhavananda Saraswati. He came to our ashram a few years, just last year also. He told something very interesting. He said, devotees often complain. Those are bhaktas, those are spiritual seekers, sadhakas. They often complain. My mind is very restless. I cannot meditate. Whenever I sit for meditation, all sorts of bad thoughts come into my mind. Or if I force it, I fall asleep. All these problems were not there before I became spiritual. Only when I became spiritual. Now, earlier only worldly problems. Now worldly problems plus Vedantic problems are there. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya Jiva Brahmaiva Napara. But I still get upset. And not only that, I feel bad that I am not changing in spite of so much listening to YouTube talks and attending retreats. On top of that, others criticize. So you are listening to all that and going to this retreat. What gain is there? I see you're the same fellow. As Americans say, you're still the same dude. Then this Swami, Anubhavananda Saraswati, he said very nicely, he made an important point. This is a sign of great progress. Why? Why? The Vedantic perspective, it's a sign of great progress. Earlier, we were busy with, why did that person say like that? Now your reaction is, why am I getting upset? My mind is getting upset. You have moved from a concern with the other world and the other person to a concern with your own mind. You still have complaint, but the complaint is not so much, they will do what they will do. People will be people. But why am I getting upset? Why can't I control my mind, Swamiji? Your concern is now with the mind. It is a sign of progress. People who are overtly concerned with the world, with the events in the world, more worse with the people in the world. They say worst kind of people are those who are concerned with other people. Little better are those who are concerned with the facts, events, what happened, not who did what, who said what, doesn't matter. What happened? Even better, the best kind of people are concerned with ideas. So, with the principle of it, with the idea of it. Now, if you're concerned with the mind, why am I not being spiritual? Why am I not calm? Why am I not able to meditate? Why is there not peace in the mind? What are you worried about? No longer the world. You're no longer so much worried with other people. You're worried about why are my spiritual practices not effective? Am I not getting peace and calmness in the mind? Why am I not getting strength in the mind? Why is the mind anxious? You're worried about the mind. Very good. That's not the end, but it's a big progress. In Vedantic terms, it is like this. Consciousness with the mind and senses is called pramata. Pramata, the knower. It is the jivatma. It is the jiva, the sentient being. You, I. We are the jivas. We are consciousness with mind and senses within a body. And what are we busy about? We are busy about the world. We are busy about other people. And we are busy about the body. So this is what the jivatma does. This is what the pramata does. But what's going on in the mind itself, the witness of the mind is consciousness, is sakshi. Sakshi is the one which directly illumines the mind. Consciousness is aware of the contents of the mind. I am aware of the content. What is going on in the mind? Who sees? Sakshi sees. What is going on in the world? Sakshi plus mind sees. Pramata is always busy with the world. These terms have to be explained in English. In Sanskrit, they are concise and powerful. Pramata is concerned with samsara. Sakshi is concerned with the mind. When you are concerned with the mind, in Hindi they will say, "Aap kahan baithe hain?" Sthita pragya, established wisdom. It means seated in wisdom. Sthita, where? Where are you seated? Are you seated in the body, mind, or are you seated in Sakshi? If you are worried about the world, you are seated in body, mind. You're sthita there. That's where you're staying. If you are worried about the mind, why is it not spiritual? You are seated in Sakshi. You may not think so, but that is what it is. Anyway, so that's a good thing. Now, how do we deal with the mind? It says here, Sangyamat, by control of the mind, mastery of the mind. There is a meaning, there is a technical meaning of Sangyama in yoga, but in a general sense, if you take, what is the, how do you master the mind? All spiritual practices are there for transforming the mind, to make the mind a sadhu. How do you transform the mind? One way is, just I'll give you the keys. These are takeaways, which will be immediately useful. Capsules, which you can apply immediately. One is selfless, not selfish. Selfless, not selfish. The mind is most agitated when you are selfish. When I am concerned about I, me, mine, I, this fellow, I'm concerned about this one only. And mine, my possessions, my status, my prestige, my husband, wife, children, relatives, my. When I'm concerned about that, then I'm most vulnerable to suffering. My concern is only about those things. Why? It's important to be concerned. Yes, but make a slight distinction. Important for what reason? Is it for the sake of those people, for that situation? Are you there for that solving that? Or is it because it pertains to you? Is the reason selfish? Most of the time, the reason why we are concerned about other people is my selfish link to them. Why did they not give me Facebook likes, thumbs up? Why not? Me, I'm not really concerned about those people. My so-called concern about that, even the things which we think nice, family concerns. You're concerned about the children, my children, not others. I would see in a school, in our ashrama in India, 600 boys were playing in the field, different play fields, 600 kids are playing. Parents have come to visit. But each couple, each parent zooms in on out of 600 on one kid. From your perspective as distant, suppose you are a teacher there. Your perspective, they're all kids, they're all students. They're equally there for you. You are there equally for them. But for that couple, it is that one kid. Why? Not so much for the kid, it's for their relation with the kid. My kid. It seems natural to us, but it's a fact that it is my selfish connection, my biological connection, my physical connection to that child. That's what makes that child special. There is a necessity for that. Otherwise, family will not function, biology will not function, nature will not function. But remember the reason for it. More we rise from that reasoning, more mind will be controlled, you will be at peace, and you will be closer to the truth. What is the truth? All kids are kids. They all deserve to be taken care of because they are kids. Those of you are teachers. Notice how your attention, how your attitude changes when you are a teacher and you have got 30 kids in the class. When you're a parent, out of those 30 kids, only one kid is important to you. When you're a teacher, all 30 kids are important. And you will deal with them as they pertain to your whatever they need, you will deal like that. So, selfish and selfless. The more selfless we are, the more the mind will be at control. The more selfishness enters into the equation, the more disturbed the mind is likely to be. More vulnerable you will be. The more open you will be to suffering in the world. Your own suffering. See, this is the beauty of this approach. It has given you the prize. The prize is your peace of mind. Everybody wants that. Your own joy, your own bliss, your own peace of mind. And now how to get it? If you straight away say, be selfless. I don't want to be selfless. I want to be selfish because I think I will get peace and joy by becoming selfish. He says, no, just the opposite. You will get much more peace and joy by being selfless. I used to think when I became a monk, how these Maharajas who are in charge of big institutions, hospital, oh, so much trouble. School, at least you can understand, it's a joyous place. Children are there, it's a joyous place. Young people, a lot of problems, but it's still. But hospital, life and death. Labor problems are there, doctors' problems are there, technical problems, financial problems, and on top of that, the patient life and death situation. And not just once. Each family faces once in a while. But if you're in a hospital, you're facing daily, morning, afternoon, evening. How they can remain so calm? One powerful reason is you're not directly involved as this is mine. You are there to give. You're not there to take. You're not even there for your career. You're not even there for salary. You're there just as service to God in the suffering humanity. Now that, it sounds like a big phrase, but it's not very difficult to understand. You're there, people are in pain, you are there to help. Who will not help? And you, the principle is, I don't want anything back. That is, you're not doing a favor by not wanting anything back. You are saving yourself from the second arrow. By not wanting anything back, you get peace of mind. So one way of overcoming manas samyama is selfless, not selfish. This is the essence of karma yoga. You can be in the midst of tremendous activity. See, peace of mind. How will I get peace of mind? Let me run away from the mountain and to the mountains and Himalayas and sit quietly in a cave. Then I will get peace of mind. Away from the world. The problem is the world is in me. Wherever you are, this is saying, wherever you go, there you are. I have carried the world with me. If I run away from the world, what will happen is the world will forget me very quickly. World is very selfish. It will forget me very quickly. I will not forget the world so quickly. And the world in the cave will also trouble me there. The world will trouble me there. You have to try it to see what happens. If the mind is not free, not purified enough, then solitude will not give you peace. Solitude will disturb you, will make you restless. People think, when I talk about Gangotri and all, it's a wonderful thing. In the top of the mountain, you're sitting, you don't have any family, you don't have any job, food is given to you, whatever, simple food, but it's good enough. And a shelter is given to you. There's no constraints, no restraints on you. Some work is going on somewhere. So we are fine. These are all arrows from outside. First arrow. Second arrow, we are fine. People think you'll be very much at peace. I always say, yes, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, you'll be at peace because the pressure of the world is taken off from you. But after 3 days, after 1 week, after 2 weeks, after 1 month, it is just rocks, howling wind, freezing cold, endless solitude. You'll hardly see a human face if you are secluded, properly secluded. I remember one young man, I still remember. He was working for some non-profit and then he had some disagreement. He ran away in India, you can run away to the Himalayas. He'll become a yogi there. He was living in a cave. And he used to come and talk to me. After some time, after once or twice, he told me, Swamiji, kuch acha nahi lagta. I don't like anything here. And very understandable. Empty, unless one has a deep spiritual practice within. Why are you there alone? What are you going to do there? Initially, there is peace because the pressure of samsara is taken off. All those troubling people are gone. All those troubling problems in the world are gone. You are alone in a beautiful, serene circumstance. That gives you peace. But afterwards, purposelessness comes. What are you doing? Why are you doing? You're not doing anything also. You know that you're not doing anything also. So, one sadhu said that ekantavas, solitude, is good for sattvic mind. Sattvic people and tamasic people both like solitude. Rajasic people don't like solitude. mind which is pure and serene will utilize that solitude for further spiritual growth, will progress. Mind which is rajasic, dynamic, energetic, wants to accomplish things, will hate that solitude. What is this? I don't like it. What are we doing here? Useless. Tamasic people will like the solitude, but it will lead to moral degradation of that person. Why they will like the solitude? Nobody will trouble. Nobody is going to yell at me. Get up. Why are you sleeping? I'll sleep nicely. I'll get up when there's time for food. I'll get up. That's why ashram life and especially solitude can ruin a person unless a person is ready for spiritual life. Ashram life, that's why strict routine is imposed in ashram life. At this time, you have to get up. Today, I don't want to get up. No, you have to get up. This time is for meditation. I feel sleepy. No, you have to sit. Sit and sleep if you, but you must go there. This time is made for manual work in the kitchen, vegetable, dressing the vegetables, cutting the vegetables. I don't feel like I want to study Vedanta. No, that time is for that only. This time is for studying. Hey, boring. Vedanta is boring. No, you have to study with. So the mind, the moods of the mind, you will not flow according to moods of the mind. Rather, the mind is made to flow according to a particular set. That forces the tamasic mind to become rajasic and the rajasic mind to become serene, quiet. Otherwise, what happens is we float with the mind. When the mind goes well, we feel it's very fine. But very soon, the same mind which is going well will go badly and then it will drag us to hell. So, one master showed this way. When you're learning how to drive, and your instructor is sitting next to you. I had this experience. Your instructor is sitting next to you in California. Keep your eye on the road. Don't look here and there. Keep your eye on the road. And then rain falls and the windshield wiper starts. No. And you look. No, look at the road. Oh, yes. Don't do that. Windshield wiper is the mind. We are like that fool who is looking. Stop it. Don't look at the mind like that. In Gangotri itself, one monk told me, oh, we're so far ahead in time. One monk told me that the session is up to 12:30. Yeah. Do you know, Swamiji, the difference between yogi's mind and samsari's mind? We are sitting in front of the Ganga, and that was around August. So just after the rainy season, lot of water, and there is torrential water flowing. Now, he said, look at the water, Ganga now. He was telling in Hindi. Ab Ganga ko dekhiye. There is so much water, and it is turbid water. That means with muddy water. It's muddy water. It is dangerous to cross it because it's moving so fast. And just before, one day before, someone had been swept away. It's dangerous to cross this river now. And this water, you cannot drink it, nor can you give anybody else to drink. So the samsari mind is like that. A lot of thoughts, including plenty of impure and dangerous thoughts. Second, this will not give you peace and it will not give anybody else peace. That means you will not be at peace and you will cause disturbance to everybody else around you. Disturbed mind causing disturbance to everybody. You will not get peace. You will not give peace to anybody else. And third, it is dangerous. It can harm you. It can ruin your life. It does ruin your life. And others, it can harm others also. Whereas he says, Aap jade mein aiye Mahatma ji. He says, come in winter. Same river you will see. It is very cold. And so because it freezes in parts, the water is much less. So it's just that limited amount of water, not a torrent of thoughts, but only the selected thoughts which you want to have in the mind. Only those thoughts. Second, he said, the water is so clean, so clear. He says, aap chawanni gira denge pul se to aap. So you can throw a coin from the bridge and read off the denomination of the coin at the bottom of the river. It's like glass, just pure glass. And still also, because it hardly moves. Sometimes it freezes. So he says, khud pee sakte hain, dusron ko pila sakte. In Hindi, he said, you can drink it yourself. You can happily offer it to anybody else to drink. And you can easily walk across it also from one bank to the other bank of the, it's a very narrow river there. The yogi's mind, there's controlled thoughts, pure thoughts. The yogi is at peace and radiates peace all around. And it is completely safe. That mind will take you to God realization. So this is the case which he is making. Selfless, not selfish, that is one takeaway. The second takeaway is focused, not distracted. Focused mind, not distracted mind. The out of control mind is a distracted mind. What is the definition of distracted mind? Now it will think about A, then about B, then about C. Oh, I have to think about A. It will come back to A again. It will go from object to object to object. It's called monkey mind. What does the monkey do? It climbs a tree, then it jumps from one branch of the tree to the neighboring branch of another tree. Then travels across that tree to neighboring branch of a third tree. It will never climb down that tree and take up another tree. The monkey mind moves from one subject to another subject to another subject, just from whatever comes to mind, linkages. It will not hold on to one line of thought. That monkey mind is not useful anywhere, let alone yoga or spiritual life. It's not useful in your academics. It's not useful in your job. It's not useful in anything that we do. So monkey mind, distracted mind, and spiritual mind is the focused mind, concentrated mind. Spirituality, always concentration. I remember reading this book, Waiting for God, Simone Weil. She was this young Jewish woman who, in Second World War, French philosopher, writer. In one of the comments, which I really liked, she says, school studies are important for spirituality. By school, she means school also and college, university studies. They are important for spirituality. Why? It says, even more if you don't like the subject. Why? Because the training in focus that it gives the mind. Take up a high thought, an important, something sophisticated, high, deep, new idea, new concept in whatever subject you're studying. And the ability to hold on to it and penetrate deep into it, whether you like it or not. That training which the mind gets is extremely useful later on in spiritual life. She says, school studies are spiritual. It's only when you become a sadhak after your school and college, you realize if I've developed the power of concentration in school and college, it is so much useful for me now. I remember a friend of mine who's a monk, brilliant, brilliant man, one of the most brilliant men I've seen in my whole life. You know, in India, we have this examination called IIT Joint Entrance Examination, IITJ, very difficult. Hundreds of thousands of children every year they appear for it. Imagine, he was all India second in his year. Among all those hundreds of thousands of kids, now it must be in millions, he was number 2 in the whole ranking. And that's not just once, throughout his career, in his school, in college, and also when I met him afterwards, and even till today. He has an extraordinary power of concentration. Among the people I've met, I'm right there at the top. Completely ability to get focused, not just in meditation. He's reading a book, and you know what is this instrument called pakawaj? Makes a huge sound, especially if you're playing in a small room. It reverberates. I can't read a comic. We had Chanda Mama comics in those days. I can't read a comic book with that sound. And he's reading a Shankara Bhashya sitting there. He can't hear it. So if he tells his ears not to hear, they will not hear. He focus there. So that tremendous focus. Our Guru had told us, we all do mantra japa. The Guru teaches us how. The Guru took one look at this, my friend, this monk, whom he did not know at all. Looked at him and said, you don't have to do japa, you can meditate. Tumi dhyan korbe. I don't know, that's something great about both the Guru and the Shishya. The Guru was able to see just looking at the face of that person, whom he has never, I know him, he doesn't know them. Just looking at him says, you should meditate. Just looking at us, you should do japa. That's the best you can think of right now. So, focused mind, not distracted mind. Devoted mind, not desirous mind. That wanting is called desire. You collect it all together in one place, all the desires into one, as Vivekananda says, one almighty love of God, bhakti. Transform vasana into bhakti. I want 100 different things. Where will that emotion go? In all your Vedanta, yoga, where will that emotion go? I want XYZ, take away that XYZ and put God. It's a spiritual technology. which takes our emotions and transforms it into bhakti. Same power of I want. So take that power of I want, drop those worldly targets of that I want, and make it and replace it. You can't have a vacuum. Replace it with God. If you don't do that, what will happen? So we are talking about Vedanta here, Advaita Vedanta. Why is bhakti important for Advaita Vedanta? Traditional Advaita Vedanta always has a place for bhakti. It's only our modern new Advaita and American Advaita, which says we can have I am Brahman, forget all God and all devotion, all that is lower. No, you're making a dangerous mistake. Why? Then all those unresolved emotions will trouble you. So I know I am Brahman, but I get very upset. I want that very much. I hate that so much. You have serious problems. That I know I am Brahman will not help you. Emotions are pulling in another direction. Your knowledge, Vedantic knowledge is pulling in another direction. So, bhakti. One sadhu said, Rota wa jnani kisi ko pasand nahi hai. A jnani who has realized I am Brahman, or at least claims to have realized, and has one long list of grumbling and complaint. Yes, I am Brahman, but that fellow who spoke like that, that fellow did not do pranam to me. And they did not take care, they did not show me sufficient respect. Why? Little problems will annoy you, and there'll be a list of unfulfilled desires. This kind of jnana is not impressive at all. Rota hua jnani kisi ko pasand nahi. But why that phenomenon should be there at all? It is because the emotions have not been resolved. In the initial stages, I'm not talking about advanced people. In our initial stages, jnana and the emotions and intellect work at two different levels. At my intellectual level, I can understand. I am consciousness. I am the witness of the world. At the emotional level, I can say, I want this, I want that. Most of the questions, when you will see, I understand what you're saying, but. So that but, what will follow that but, you will see it's often an emotional question. It's not a question related to Advaita teaching. Advaita teaching is fine in its own place. The emotional problem has not been resolved. One very powerful way of resolving the emotional problem is bhakti. Bhakti is very useful for the Advaita. Those who are on the path of pure bhakti, Vaishnava bhakti, they are those, they don't need that Advaitic path. They can avoid it. Sometimes the gurus tell actually avoid it because it can damage their bhakti. But if you are on the path of Advaita, keep a place for bhakti in your life. Devotion. Where will your desire, your want, where should it go? All of it should go to the lotus feet of the Lord. I want the Lord. What do you want in life? I want Bhagavan. I want my Sri Krishna. I want my Sri Ganesha. I want like Sri Ramakrishna, Kali. I want my mother. That's what I want. I don't want anything else in life. Seriously. And even if it's not serious, I have many things which I want. All right, start. But the beauty of bhakti is when you start, the Ittham Bhuta Harer Gunaha, Bhagavatam says, such are the qualities of the Lord Hari that it attracts the minds of everybody, including Jivan Mukta Mahapurushas also. Such are the qualities. So if you make a beginning by loving God, all our desires slowly will begin to flow towards God. So these are the three ways in which the mind can be made into a sadhu. The fourth way is the way of jnana, which will be the topic for the afternoon, which we will see. So I have just given three ways here. One more thing he adds in the second verse, prana samrodhanat, by pranayama. There is a physical way of controlling the mind. Hatha yoga way of controlling the mind. In Patanjali yoga, it is given, pranayama. Why? That is, they'll just say a few words about it, then we'll go into the question answer session. Prana Sanyamanat. The yogis noticed that breathing is connected to thinking. Controlling the mind directly is difficult. So they noticed if you control the breath first, the mind becomes controlled. An interesting thing. And from that, they developed a whole science of pranayama. Prana has this double impact. The higher level impact on the mind. It can control the mind. It can calm down the mind. The downward impact on the body. It can make a body healthy, calm, and pranayama can give health benefits. Pranayama can give psychological benefit also. So prana sangyamanad, mind also becomes quietened. Ramana Maharshi also says prana rodhanat. This is how is the chitta controlled? By many ways, including prana rodhana, control of them. But that's just emergency measure. Karma yoga by selflessness, powerful way of calming the mind. Dhyana yoga by focused mind, not distracted mind, powerful way of controlling the mind, mastering the mind. And very powerful way of mastering the mind, bhakti yoga, by devotion to the Lord. Devotion to the Lord spiritualizes our desire. Focus gathers in the scattered powers of the mind and concentrates it. And selflessness, it removes, cuts at the root of samsara, which is I, me, mine, this body. These are the ways, powerful ways of controlling the mind. By pranayama, what is meant? Many techniques are there. The basic pranayama, those who do puja and all, you all know. It has three components. That is puraka, breathing in, kumbhaka, holding the breath, and rechaka, releasing the breath. And there's a science to it. You should learn it. Many people can teach you. Any good yoga teacher in your yoga studio can teach it to you. There are a whole range of pranayamas with multiple benefits. The basic pranayama is this, that you pull in the breath for 4 counts. Mentally count, like keep a timer in your mind. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4. I count om, 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 4 ohms, and I count on my finger. Don't say it out loud, mentally. And then hold the breath for 16 breaths. 16 counts, not 16 breaths, 16 counts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, up to 16. And then release the breath from the other nostril by for 8 counts. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Push out the entire, empty the lungs as much as you can. Then breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 16 counts. Empty for the other nostril for 8 counts. So like, I'm not teaching you pranayama, by the way. Don't, if you know, you practice yourself. Otherwise, you want to learn, you learn from a yoga teacher. This is just for demonstration only, no participation. Why I'm saying this? Because pranayama can be dangerous also. If not done well, it can harm, it can create harm. I have seen it. I've seen actually a friend of mine who was a yogi and practitioner going mad because of excessive pranayama. So like this, breathing in, you close this nostril with the thumb and breathe in. Then close both nostrils like this. Hold. Release from this nostril. 8 times. Then breathe in 4 times. Hold. 60. Release. 8. This is the most basic one. And then there are counts higher than this, and different techniques are there. Immediately mind becomes calm, only temporarily. It's like a spring. You sit on it, it will become pressed. The moment you let it go, it will bump up. So it will work. And that's why it's done just before meditation. You want an emergency brake, stop the car from rolling. You want to stop the mind from rolling. So pranayama works. Shankaracharya makes fun of it in Aparokshanubhuti. He says real pranayama, Advaitic pranayama is what? Breathing in is the realization, I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. Holding the breath is stay there, I am Brahman. Releasing the breath is Jagat Mithya, the world is an appearance. So there says start by releasing the breath. Releasing the breath, Jagat Mithya. World is an appearance, like a movie, like a dream, like a snake in a rope. And then hold the breath, then breathe in. I am Brahman. Then hold the breath. Stay there. This is, he says, this is the Prabuddhanam pranayama. This is the pranayama of the enlightened ones. But what about that one? Just now we did this. He says, Grana Pidanam, that is torturing the nose. Like this, like this. No. He admits it is useful. Later on in Aparokshanubhuti, he says all those techniques are good and useful, but they are preliminary. They're just for kindergarten, beginning. You must go ahead from there. So that realization that world is an appearance, I am Brahman, and staying in that I am Brahman, that is our topic for afternoon. Now let us go into question answer. We have 15, 20 minutes now. You can come to that microphone. Please come here. Tell us your name and ask the question.
Pranams.
Yes. Tell us your name.
My name is Padma. Swamiji, is I am pure consciousness, witness, and awareness. Are they same? If they are different, how are they related?
Yes, I'm using them in the same way. I am pure consciousness. I am the Sakshi witness consciousness. I am awareness. I am consciousness. I'm using them interchangeably. In Sanskrit, there are precise words. Chaitanyam, Chit, Samvit, Bodha. Multiple words are there in Sanskrit. I read somewhere the Eskimos have many words for snow. So they actually live in that environment, so they know the slight shades of difference in the meanings of different. All of them mean snow, but different kinds of snow in different situations they know because they live in it. Similarly, these ancient Indians, they dealt so much with this. There are multiple words for the same reality. In English, the words are ambiguous, so I use them interchangeably. If you give fixed meanings, then they will create confusion. For example, many people who have read Nisarga Datta's book, I Am That. Remember, he spoke in Marathi, so it was translated into English, that I am that. So, for example, Nisarga Datta says, consciousness is there, but at death, consciousness goes away. There's no consciousness after death. Only awareness remains. Now you see, so in what sense is he using it? He is using his consciousness as this vritti jnana. Consciousness shining through the mind. Mind is active in vritti jnana. And that's what he's calling consciousness. This is our present experience. But when the mind shuts down in death or in deep sleep, he says awareness remains. There he's using the word awareness. Actually, he's not using. Translator is using. He's using it in the sense of the Sakshi, Chaitanya, which is always there. It's always there. So I'm using them interchangeably. Always catch on to the feeling that I am aware. Right now, we all have that feeling. That feeling I'm aware is mixed up with thoughts, emotions, perceptions. That's what's mixed up with. Separating that is the job we will do in the afternoon. And to see awareness, as bare awareness, pure consciousness. By pure consciousness, I don't mean a good consciousness. I mean consciousness unmixed with anything else.
Swamiji, one more question.
Yes.
So, Lord Shiva, Dakshinamurti is pure consciousness. And when Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita is referring, is Vishnu also the same? We are talking about the pure consciousness or
Same. That's why Advaita Vedanta has this beautiful position with regard to God, the God of religion. According to Advaita Vedanta, what is God? It is Maya Upahita Chaitanya. Consciousness with the power of Maya. Consciousness which is behind Maya, which creates this entire universe. Now that same Maya Upahita Chaitanya, it is infinite and it can take infinite forms and names. You can worship it. We Hindus have discovered dozens of different ways of appreciating the same Ishvara, Maya Upahita Chaitanya. So for an Advaitin, if you say Ganesha, no problem. It is the same Maya Upahita Chaitanya, Saguna Ishvara. If you say Kali, Sri Ramakrishna's mother, same Saguna Brahman. Sri Ramakrishna says, what you Vedantins call Saguna Brahman, I call mother. When you say Dakshinamurti Shiva, Saguna Brahman. Also Nirguna Brahman ultimately. All of them. But Saguna Brahman also. Dakshinamurti Shiva, pure consciousness as the teacher of the universe. Then it immediately becomes Saguna Brahman. As Shiva, as Devi, as Ganesha, as Kartikeya, in whichever form. And you extend it further. When the Christian comes and talks about our Father in heaven, we Advaitins will say Saguna Brahman, pure consciousness with the power of Maya. When the Muslim comes and says Allah, yes, we understand. It's the same concept. So the Advaitin can be very liberal that way. Any conception of God, Advaitin is very comfortable with. If you have a particular, if you're not an Advaitin, if you are dualistic, and in my scripture it's defined as Krishna or as Narayan or as Shiva, then I have tendency to be narrow and sectarian about it. So God is Shiva for me. Is also Devi? No. It's Shiva for me. Is also so Krishna and Radha. Yes, Radha Krishna for me is God. But you can make it even more narrow. One sect of Vaishnavas will say, no, Krishna only without Radha. And dismissed, divorced. And then another sect of Vaishnavas will get angry. You're disrespecting Radha? What a horrible fellow you are. All these problems Advaitin does not. Because Advaitin knows it is the same consciousness with the power of Maya. Call it Radha Krishna, call it Shiva Parvati, call it Shiva, call it Lakshmi Narayana, call it just Narayana. It's same, Saguna Brahma.
Swamiji, my confusion was basically because when we are referring to like Dakshinamurti, we are only telling its consciousness.
Yes.
But when we are somehow talking about Vishnu Bhagwan, we are talking as a creator at the time. So can I think when I'm reading Dakshinamurti Shloka, can I think the same way that he is also the creator with the association of Maya?
Yes,
Otherwise,
yes, same concept.
Same.
Yes. You see, all the Advaitic truths are there if you read Vishnu Sahasranama. Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkar, if you go, Nirguna Brahman, Saguna Brahman. This gives you a complete idea of divinity. Nirguna Brahman, Saguna Brahman.
Thank you so much, so much.
Namaskar.
I have a little general Vedantic question.
Yes, please.
There are 800 billion people in the world, and Vedanta
Thank God, not 800 billion, 8 billion.
8 billion people, and there are many abstract Vedantic concepts.
Yes.
Such as ego, mind, etc., which have very Vedanta specific definition.
Yes.
So how can we make Vedanta accessible and mainstream to such a diverse audience, dynamic audience we have in the world?
As we are doing, and more, if you can make it more acceptable in multiple ways. That's why I am open. Traditional Advaita Vedanta is one thing, but in a variety of different ways, it is presented by teachers today. And I'm open with it. Many traditional teachers will not like, say, many of the direct path teachers, New Advaita, many traditional teachers don't like it. But I am open and I'm fine with it because they are reaching out to audiences who otherwise would be daunted if you use Sanskrit terms, if you use a lot of technical vocabulary. People they want a quick fix. They want some peace of mind. They want some spiritual wisdom without learning a lot of, philosophy and epistemology and metaphysics. So if you can make it accessible. Swami Vivekananda said, this Vedantic philosophy, it must become, it's not dry. It must become, it must be presented as poetic. It must become accessible to all. His mission was that the Vedanta, which was in the hands of a few scholars and monks, I shall scatter it in this, across the world. That Vedanta was limited to forests and caves in mountains. I will take it to the cities of the world. So this is the mission. Think about it. How, suppose one way is to translate from Sanskrit. It's been translated into many languages, especially English, but many Indian languages, to translate into many other languages. I get requests all the time. Someone wants in Croatian, someone wants in Dutch, someone wants in other language. Translation is the way of making it accessible. Then teach it in different ways. Why only in this philosophical way? Why not through movie? Why not through comic books or whatever? What can see? There are a lot. Phil Goldberg in his book American Veda, he has a chapter. The Swamis taught the smart guys, and the smart guys taught the rest of us. The name of the chapter is that. How Houston Smith and Joseph Campbell and Aldous Huxley, they were influenced, but they bought it. J.D. Salinger, the writer, he bought it into it's a popular culture, novels. J.D. Salinger says, on purpose, I introduced Vedantic terms into his novels, Franny and Zooey, for example. He talks openly about Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, like that. So they become terms common in culture. So in these ways, as many ways as you can think.
As a follow-up, sometimes it is very difficult to bring the younger generation who is very materialistic.
No, yeah, the younger generation not materialistic. Younger generation, only problem with younger generation is that they're young. That's all. Yeah. So our duty and your duty is to make it accessible to them. Now, then you might say they are not interested. Good. You might have to say that I was not interested at that age. I personally was. Even as a little kid, I was very interested in Vedanta. I remember reading Panchadashi when I was 12 years old. I don't know how much I understood of it, but I liked it. I liked reading it. But most kids were not interested. Most kids were not interested. But out of those kids I see who are not interested, 10 years later, 20 years later, many are interested. So life teaches us. Now, our duty is, even at the stage when they are not interested, don't make it difficult for them. Let them know such things are available. Some of them will be interested, most will not be interested. And after 5, 10, 15, 20 years, when they become interested, it is available for them. Yes.
Swamiji, I'm Suresh. As I try to give up my attachment to these worldly things and attach myself to something higher, Swamiji also said that we should develop this devotion and attachment to a relationship with Bhagwan.
Yes.
I'm just curious, what happens as we progress further? What is the nature of that relationship with Bhagwan as we progress in jnanam? Is that also something that we're giving up?
No, we're not giving up. It matures into jnana. So the relationship with Bhagavan, you set up some relationship. It could be the Lord is my master. So you are in the temple. The Lord Amareshwara Shiva, he is the master, I am the servant. I am present here always as the dasa of the Lord. I as Suresh, as the individual person. Or it could be the Lord is my father and I am the son. Or in Sri Ramakrishna's case, always it was the Lord is my mother, I am the child. I am the child and God is my mother, Kali. Or it could be the opposite. I am the father or the mother and the God is my baby. So that's why you have the baby Krishna, the Ram Lala, or the baby Jesus. That the whole idea of God as a baby is, you don't expect the baby to take care of you. You take care of the baby. I remember this lady told me about her mother-in-law who was devoted to Gopala all her life and very devoted. And she showed me in her home, her mother-in-law has passed away long ago, but the Gopala is still there and worshipped. And because her mother-in-law taught her that when I am not there, you continue to take care. Gopala should be taken care of. Now, when her mother-in-law was very sick, lady told me the story. When her mother-in-law was very sick, going for an operation, she would tell, I'm in pain. You please pray to the Divine Mother, to Durga or Kali, to bless me so that I do not suffer so much. And this lady said, I was wondering, she has worshipped Gopala all her life. So why should she not ask Gopala? So she said, I asked her, Mother, why don't you ask Gopala? You have such a close relation with Gopala. So ask Gopala, pray to Gopala. And she looked shocked. How can I ask him for anything? He's a baby. I have to take care of Gopala. So this is that genuine attitude. Devotion, that genuine attitude, bond with Gopala is appropriate. If it's genuinely done, you will never ask the Lord for anything. My own suffering, I will take care of. As much as I can, as long as I'm alive and able, I will take care of you, my Lord. It's such a beautiful relationship. Relationship of Yashoda to Krishna. Or you can take God is my friend. Uddhava or Arjuna with Krishna. God is my friend. Or God is the lover of the beloved, Radha and Krishna, like that. So one of these attitudes. Sometimes those who are on the path of jnana, they don't take up any of these attitudes. They take up the Shanta Bhava, the presence of God. God is there and ever present. He is the Lord of this universe. What happens in my life and happens in this universe is because of the Lord. And I am delighted by the presence of the Lord. But my main focus is, I am pure consciousness. See, let me just say something here. The idea is that I am Brahman. I and the Lord are one. It'll get a little technical, but it's a very subtle and startling insight. Advaita Vedanta, we always use that snake rope thing. Snake rope analogy. You know the snake rope, if somebody sees the rope, does not know it's a rope, it's sort of semi-dark and thinks, oh my God, there's a snake. Does not think that this rope is a snake. Does not see the rope at all. Seeing the rope, but does not recognize the rope as a rope. See, something is there, oh my God, it's a snake. And then it is used in this way. In Vedanta, normally we use it in this way. So there is Brahman, and in Brahman we are seeing this world. Brahma is like the rope, and the world is like the snake. So Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya. Rope Satyam, snake Mithya. Brahman is real, the world is an appearance. This is how we normally use it. It is not correct. I mean, it's okay in an initial sense, but in a more subtle way, one sadhu taught this very subtler thing, pointed out. It's there, but we don't notice it. He pointed out one interesting thing. Very simple fact. Snake rope, the snake is not in the rope. Yeah, you say, yeah, we know that. It's an error. The rope is appearing as a snake. No, rope is not appearing as a snake. Rope will say, please leave me alone. Why are you dragging me into your Advaita? I have never appeared as a snake or anything else. I am just a rope. Please leave me alone in peace. You fellows are always using me as a snake. Rope really has nothing to do with the snake. Where is the snake? In other words, it's in your mind, it's a buddhi vritti, a wrong buddhi vritti. Instead of appreciating the rope as a rope, buddhi vritti of that is a rope, the buddhi vritti should be it is a rope. But it became due to some error, it is a snake. The snake is a buddhi vritti in your buddhi. And the adhisthana of that buddhi is the Atma, consciousness. In consciousness appears the buddhi. And the buddhi is given existence by the Atma. And it is revealed by me, the consciousness, that buddhi. So the buddhi vritti, that is a snake. Is in the buddhi, is in the Atma, and given a sort of existence and illumination by the Atma alone. Now, keep this in mind. So how does it impact Advaita? What does it mean? What it means is, this Atma alone, with the upadhi, I'm using the technical terms, with the upadhi of antakarana, the Atma, consciousness alone appears as Jiva, Suresh there, Sarvapriyananda here. With the upadhi of Maya, this Atma, this Chaitanyam alone appears as Ishvara. What is the upadhi? Prapancha upadhi. With the upadhi of the world, it appears as Ishvara. Underneath it is the same Atma. The situation is same like Atma appearing as Buddhi, and in Buddhi there is a wrong cognition of snake. Atma alone is all that. Buddhi and the wrong cognition of the snake. Atma alone exists. This is the meaning of Sarvam Yadayam Atma. All that exists is the self alone. This self alone appears as individual beings like you and me. The self alone appears Ishvara. With one antakarana, one set of mind and senses, it appears as me, you, him, her. With all the universe together, the same self appears, prapanchopadhi appears as Ishvara. This is a technical way of putting it. What should the Advaitin do with regard to bhakti? Hanuman's approach. Hanuman was asked, how do you regard me? Ramchandra asks, and his reply, Sri Ramakrishna was approved of this attitude. Deha buddhya dasoham, jiva buddhya twadangshaka, atma buddhya tvamevaham, iti me nishchitamati. This is the beauty of Hinduism and Vedanta itself. From the perspective of the body, I am Hanuman, you are Ramchandra, you are my Lord, I am your servant. Very clear. And in my behavior, in my speech, I will act like that only, always. As long as I'm identified with this body. But I am also a jiva. I have traveled across many lifetimes and I've had many bodies earlier also. That jiva is part of the all-pervading Narayana of your real nature. You, Ramachandra, you are actually Narayana, Saguna Brahman, and I am part of you. Then the last one, both the jiva and you, Narayana, you are both appearing in one consciousness. I am that consciousness. You are also that consciousness. You and I are one. So I am your servant. Absolutely correct. Always your servant. I am your part. You are the whole, I am a tiny part. You are the sun, I am a ray of you. You are the bonfire, I am a spark from you. Upanishad says, you are a bonfire, I am a spark of you. And you and I are one light. That's the ultimate. Which one should I have? All three. Mahagyani. Hanuman, the Hanuman Chalisa, it says, Jnana Guna Sagar is an ocean of knowledge and an ocean of all divine qualities. A very great thing to emulate in our life. Yes, thank you.
Swami, am I wrong? So I guess last time when we had explained about Vishnu being in a dream. I always have a dream identification because it's the most easy to relate without religion or person. So my question is, if obviously we are in the dream of Brahma and then so on go forward, but let's go from my point of view, my simple thinking. I see my dream every day,
Yes.
my creation. Why are my dream people not wanting to live with them? Or why can I avatar? Is it the same concept? I avatar in my dream, like Vishnu avatar. Is the dream.
Yes, yes. That's a good way of thinking about it.
So
More or less. Don't extend it too far, but it's a good way of understanding it. Hmm.
we do the whole thing. So it's always going on, but every time when we dream, we always think, okay, this is God from this world. So we never go back as avatar in our own dream. Is it because
You do. You are in your own dream, aren't you? In your own dream, you're there.
tell other dream people like this is not real?
Because why don't you tell them? Because you know that you don't know that it's a dream. In your dream, you think it's real. And in your dream, you think it's a waking thing like this, and you interact with others.
Why do we worry about this?
This dream. Because you are worried. That's why. Not only are we worried about this dream, we are worried about our dreams also. In our dreams, imagine, we don't know it's a dream and how anxious we are. Exactly like that, we are anxious here. After waking up, we realize it's a dream, which we saw. And our anxiety goes away about that dream. But in the dream, we were pretty anxious. I'm missing the train. I'm getting late for the class. We feel like that. Everybody has such dreams about anxiety. Our anxieties produce those dreams, actually. Because why do we do that? That's a good way to segue into the next class. It is because we do not see the dream as a dream. We do not see the falsity of the situation. Taking it to be real, we become anxious. Taking this to be real, we become anxious. Now we will, in the second class in the afternoon, we will see the falsity, the dreamlike nature of this waking world also. And then we can be free of anxiety, we'll be peaceful here in this world itself. Yeah.
We're trying hard to make this not a dream.
Not only this is a dream, we are trying to believe it. Yes.
I'm not going to decide if that's what happens. Then how will this, you know what I mean? Like how
Yes, it will happen. It will happen. And when we become enlightened in this dream, we will also remain enlightened in all other dreams also. No. Enlightenment and being avatar is a different thing. Yeah. Enlightenment is realizing your consciousness. And you realize the entire universe is a vilasa, what is called a play, a vilasa of that consciousness. Here also it's a vilasa of consciousness. In your dream also it's a vilasa of consciousness. In your deep sleep also it's a vilasa, play of your consciousness. That is enlightenment. Not this taking avatar, not avatar, in enlightening other people. Oh, all those are secondary details. Once you realize you are that, that's it, it's done. You have to come much closer to the microphone.
Sorry.
Tell us your name.
My name is Soham,
Yeah.
and I
Closer.
even closer. Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. So I had a question about like yesterday you presented about Dakshinamurti Stotram at Chinmaya Mission, and you talked about like the devotional aspect of it and as well as like understanding it. So with that context in mind, like with Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana is in Sanskrit, and there is Ramcharitramanas, which is in Hindi, and that's very, very strong in terms of devotion, and it's very easy to follow, like, at least in my experience.
Yes.
So the specific question is like, how about Bhagavatam? Because that's the story of Sri Krishna, and that's in Sanskrit. So how should I, if I'm devotional and if I want to understand the Bhagavatam or go through stories of Sri Krishna, like what is the effective way of doing, given that Sanskrit is a little difficult for me?
No, they're beautiful translations of Bhagavad. Srimad Bhagavatam has beautiful translations now. There are beautiful translations in Hindi, the beautiful translations in English, in Bengali. I know many languages, there are fine translations. And Bhagavatam is a beautiful synthesis of jnana and bhakti and karma, action and devotion and knowledge. All elements are there in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Right. So Well, the specific problem, well, the problem for me at least is like I've looked at the translation with I think Swami Tapasyanandaji. I
Yes,
think.
Tapasya translation.
But the English sort of waters it down for me. So I understand what's going on, but it's like
If
weaker.
the English waters it down, that means you have a feel for the Sanskrit itself. So
Okay.
use the English as a support,
Okay.
but focus on the Sanskrit. So
Okay.
make sure to read the Sanskrit. For those who can't read Sanskrit at all, you read the English only. For those who can read Sanskrit but needs a little help,
Right.
I was like that. When I started, I was like that. So I would always keep one translation at hand
Right.
for support. Am I getting this right? But I would always focus on the Sanskrit and see the translation, then come back to the Sanskrit.
Got it. So like sort of do Sandhi Vichhed also because the
Yes.
things are very big. So,
Yes.
okay.
Try it yourself. Bhagavatam, Shankara Bhashya is like that. I remember the first time I started reading Shankara Bhashya seriously, once Swami of our, I was a young brahmachari. And he said, have you read Shankara's Bhashyas? I said, no, it is so difficult. And he looked at me and he said, you're saying that without trying. I said, you're right. I have not tried. I always thought it's too difficult. But no, he was a teenager, Shankaracharya. He wrote in a very simple language. So, Shankara Bhashya, you keep a translation. After some time, you will not need a translation.
Got it.
We will not take any more questions there because we're going to take this last question and then.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much.
That's the last question.
Hi, I'm Adi. I have a question more about karma yoga.
Yes.
So you say that you have to act selfless versus selfish. I think like a lot of people here have a mix of desires and ambitions that are both selfish and selfless.
Yes.
Do you think it's better to just act on those ambitions, even because they have both selfless and selfish qualities?
Yeah.
Or should we sort of step back and try to cultivate bhakti and jnana before action?
Action is always better than inaction. Karma jyayo hiya karmana. So if you're prompted into action, even by selfish desires, still one should do that because you cannot stop it. Then what can religion tell us there? Because religion does not have to tell us to do our selfish desires, to work out our selfish desires. What religion normally does is, any kind of religion all over the world, that which is bad for us, but we will do it because we want it. Religion will stop. Don't do it. It will say, don't do that. Don't tell lies, don't cheat. Even if I want to do it because I want something very badly for which I'm willing to cheat and tell lies. Religion will say, don't do it. That which is good for us, but we won't naturally do it. Religion will say, do it. So it will give a commandment to do the things which are good for us, which we naturally don't do. And it will give a command for us to not to do, to prohibition for us, to stop us from doing things which we'll naturally do, which are bad for us. What we naturally do, if we naturally do good things, religion will not have to tell us that. It's good for us to eat. Religion doesn't tell us to eat. It's good for us to breathe. Religion doesn't tell us to breathe. So all the good things that we do, naturally, religion has nothing to say about it. All the bad things we don't do naturally, I mean, we stop ourselves from doing it. Religion also will say nothing about it. Only in the case where we will harm ourselves. So desirous things, if we have desires and our actions are prompted by desires, one can go ahead. But religion will tell us, do it within the limits of dharma, within the limits of morality and decency. So that will protect you and it will show you the basic uselessness of those desires. Then one realizes, I don't really need to satisfy desires to be happy.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, announcements. Thank you. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.
And our next session is at 2:30 p.m.